now listening to The Creative Insomniac.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of The Creative Insomniac. Woohoo! I am your host, Selena LeBron, and I am excited to be back with another episode. I mean, it's just me today, no co-host, but I do have a guest. And she's got some fabulous advice for you all. So I can't wait to get to that segment. But first, we got to get through some parts of the episode. So, as you read by the title, today's episode is all about sleepwalking. I love my sound bites. So let's get into it. So today's episode is all about sleepwalking. And if you remember from our previous episodes, I explained, all the different types of parasomnias. Sleepwalking is a type of parasomnia. Now, this particular parasomnia, it affects children more than adults. If you are familiar with like social media platforms like TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube, then you may have seen like viral videos, mostly of kids sleepwalking. There's a lot of adult videos as well. Not adult videos, but videos of adults going through this. But one particular influencer, or I should say content creator that I like to watch is Selena Spooky Poo. Her sleepwalking video, she takes more of a comedic viewpoint of what she's going through. So if you haven't checked her out, please do so. She actually just went on a trip with Sam and Kobe. Yes, I have kids. Okay, I have kids, but yes, I do watch other YouTubers. I watch Sam and Kobe for their, haunted videos, and I watch TFIL and their overnight channel. I'm a huge fan of their work. I'm a huge fan of Oh My Gosh TV. So yeah, these are different YouTubers that I do watch, and watching their videos usually puts me on to like other people. And so yeah, I kind of curated my my YouTube playlist based off of a lot of their videos, and I like their scary I'm quoting Oh My Gosh here, but I like their scary videos. And I also watch Casper Site. I love it. I love all the content that they create. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. So yeah, if you've seen Selena Spooky Poo her videos, then you know that she also suffers from sleepwalking. Now, while she shows a lighthearted comedic view of her parasomnia, sleepwalking can actually be extremely dangerous. In some instances, it can lead to death. So I'm going to give you a textbook breakdown of sleepwalking. Sleepwalking, also known as somnambulism, sorry if I'm butchering that, is an arousal disorder in which a person gets up and walks around while asleep. Sleepwalking can also involve sleep talking or performing routine activities such as preparing food or driving. If a person wakes up in the middle of a sleepwalking episode, they may appear confused or disoriented. More common in children than adults, like I said. Sleepwalking is usually outgrown by the teen years. Isolated instances of sleepwalking often don't signal any serious problems or require treatment. Now, let's get into the dangers of sleepwalking. Sleepwalking, while some victims of sleepwalking are noted to do regular household things such as cooking, mowing the lawn, or doing laundry, which is kind of frightening if you really think about it. You know, you're in a full dream state, or the person's in a full dream state, your significant other, they're in a full dream state, and you're knocked out and you wake up in the middle of the night to them cooking a 4-course meal in the kitchen, fully asleep, unaware of what they're doing, touching the oven, turning on burners, cutting things, using blenders. Like that's quite horrific if you think about it. Horrific for not only the person that witnesses what's happening, but also the person that wakes up and has absolutely no conscious idea of where they are or how they got there or what they're doing. Others have been noted to do some quite extreme and dangerous things while under a sleepwalking episode. There have been cases of, unfortunately, walking out of windows, walking off of terraces, ledges, and the roof of their homes, walking out into severe weather as well and dying from, hypothermia, or if it's severe heat, and they walk off into the night. If you live in like a rural area, they could walk off into the desert or, into the woods, and, it's kind of scary. As I stated before, it can also lead to death, but not just death of the person suffering from sleepwalking. There have been cases of homicides committed while sleepwalking, or at least that was the defense used. And I was actually kind of shocked to find that there are a lot of cases of sleepwalking being used as a defense case. As a defense plea. Even more recently, in 2019, a young man was tried and convicted of murder for brutally stabbing his roommate. I'm not sure if you guys have seen this in the news, but a young woman named Brooke Preston was stabbed several times by her roommate. So Brooke Preston was brutally stabbed in March of 2017 in her shared apartment. The defense used was that of sleepwalking. Her roommate testified that he had been sleepwalking and had no recollection of the events that transpired on that horrible morning. On December 16th, 2021, a documentary on Hulu called Deep Sleep was released, and that goes into full details of that case. It's heartbreaking for everyone involved. That's actually the most recent case where sleepwalking was used as a defense. However, it isn't the first time. Cases of sleepwalking murders have appeared to go as far back, ladies and gentlemen, as far back as 1846. 1846. This is quite scary to have been going through this research and seeing how many times this has happened. And a lot of it is usually, from what I've seen, it's, the person's partner who ends up getting killed. So I'm going to just name off the names. So we have Albert Terrell, 1845, Mr. Fain, 1879. And these are the gentlemen that were convicted of murder, and their defense was that they were sleepwalking. So Albert Terrell 1845. Mr. Fain, 1879. Isam Bradley, 1925. Sergeant Willis Borshears, January 1st, 1961. Kenneth Parks, 1987. Scott Falter, January 1997. Antonio Nieto, January 11th, 2001. Stephen Wrights, 2001. Jules Lowe of Manchester, UK, March 2005. Brian Thomas, July 2008. Joseph Mitchell, 2010. And Matthew Phelps, 2017. So I'm going to go into just like the last three cases and give a few more details about each case and what was unique and what was going on in those particular cases. Okay, so let's talk about some of these defense cases. So Albert Tyrrell is actually the first gentleman in America's history to use sleepwalking as a defense. This took place in 1846. So on October 27th, 1845, Albert Tyrrell walked into a Boston, Massachusetts brothel to see his honey, a sex worker named Maria Ann Bickford. In a jealous rage over Bickford having just taken a customer, Tyrrell cut the woman's throat and set fire to 3 rooms in the establishment. 1 year later, Tyrrell was a free man as the jury in his trial reached a not guilty verdict. His defense lawyer successfully argued that Tyrrell was a chronic sleepwalker and he had committed his horrendous crime during just such an episode. Whether or not this was actually true, we'll likely never know. So, I find that absolutely fascinating, because how do you prove that? In 1846, I would love to know exactly what he used to prove that this gentleman, beyond a shadow of a doubt, was a chronic sleepwalker. What were the methods used to diagnose someone with chronic sleepwalking in 1846? I think I'm going to have to do an entire episode on just figuring that out. So the next person on the list is, and I'm jumping a few. So the next person on the list is Stephen Wrights. In 2001, while vacationing on Catalina Island, California, Mr. Wrights murdered his lover, Ava Winfertner. Ava Winfertner, who was married to another man at the time. In a most brutal fashion, Wright smashed her head with a flower pot, leaving shards in her scalp, dislocated her arm, punctured her with a plastic fork, fractured her wrist, ribs, jaw, facial bone, and skull, and wielding a pocket knife, left 3 gaping stab wounds on the back of her neck. This information comes from Lindsay Lyon of U.S. News and World Report. Wrights claimed to have no memory of the crime, though he also said that he had brief flashbacks to the murder in which he believed he was being attacked by an intruder. The jury didn't buy Wright's sonambulism claims. However, as the prosecution showed numerous instances of Wright's domestic abuse of Winfertner, including one instance in which he threatened her with a knife and told her he'd gut her like a fish, I'm not surprised he was found fully guilty. The next person on the list is a gentleman by the names of Jules Lowe Manchester. Now, Jules Lowe of Manchester, UK, made legal history in March of 2005 when he was actually acquitted on murder charges due to being diagnosed with insane automatism. Lowe killed his 82-year-old father while sleepwalking, and numerous tests determined that his violent episode did not spring from any substance abuse. Lowe had problems with alcohol, but he had never been violent while sleepwalking before. He was placed in a psychiatric institution following his acquittal. Next up is Brian Thomas. Brian Thomas woke up to discover he had killed his wife of over 40 years while they were on holiday in July of 2008. He reported having a dream in which an intruder broke into the couple's camper and Thomas attacked him. But upon waking up, he realized he had, in fact, strangled his wife. Thomas was visibly distraught, and family members, including the couple's daughter, testified that Thomas had long-standing issues with sleepwalking, and during episodes he would act rather strangely. It was also reported that Thomas normally took medication for depression, but had stopped just before his vacation because it caused impotence. Side effects for ceasing this medication include vivid, realistic nightmares. The court ultimately decided to drop all charges given the evidence supporting Thomas's automatism at the time. So in that case, not only did he have family witnesses, but he was actually on medication for his parasomnia. Next up is Joseph Mitchell. A very odd case in regards to Joseph Mitchell. This is a very odd case of apparent non-REM parasomnia, which emerged in September 2010 in Hillsborough, North Carolina. Joseph Mitchell put a Halloween mask over his face and unfortunately strangled his 4-year-old son and then attacked his teenage son and daughter. Though they survived the ordeal, the defense argued that Mitchell committed this crime while sleeping and that financial stress may have contributed to the episode. The prosecution argued that Mitchell was a serial liar and that his crimes were premeditated. Though the jury sided with the defense and found Mitchell not guilty, many expressed the opinion that they didn't actually believe Mitchell was sleepwalking, but they had no choice but to acquit based on the prosecution's lack of concrete evidence otherwise. So in this case, because they couldn't prove, because he was acquitted because they couldn't prove that he didn't have a sleepwalking, that he didn't have parasomnia, that he wasn't a sleepwalker. That is very odd indeed. Because I would think if you're going to use sleepwalking as a defense, you would need to, again, in the case of Mr. Lowe from Manchester, you would need to prove that you were taking some kind of medication, you were being seen by a physician, you were diagnosed, there would be a history, you would have witnesses. There's nothing. There's nothing. They pulled none of this out to show that he didn't have. Okay, I'm just very confused by all of that. Yeah, that's a little odd. Next up, we have a U.S. soldier stationed in the UK. Next up, we have Sergeant Willis Borshears, a soldier from America stationed in England. On January 1st, 1961, Borshears strangled Jean Constable in his apartment. He claimed to have woken up just after the murder and realized what he'd done. He disposed of her body in an isolated area, but he was eventually caught and arrested. On the basis he claimed to be asleep at the time of the crime, the UK court let him off the hook. So the next person on the list is Matthew Phelps. On September 1st, 2017, a very unusual case of alleged homicidal sleepwalking occurred in Raleigh, North Carolina. A 28-year-old Matthew Phelps called 911 and told them he had awoken from sleep to find his wife laying on the bedroom floor, covered in blood from multiple stab wounds. Quote, "I have blood all over me, and there's a bloody knife on the bed. I think I did it. I can't believe this," he told the operator, reported by the New York Post. His wife, 29-year-old Lauren Ashley Nicole Phelps, was pronounced dead shortly after arriving at the hospital, with police immediately arresting Matthew Phelps for her murder. Phelps claimed he took medication for a cold before he went to bed that evening, as he was having trouble sleeping. His only explanation, he says, for what could have made him carry out such a violent attack against his wife. Sword and Scale reported the cold medicine Phelps claimed he took was Corcidin cough and cold tablets, a medication which contains a chemical often used by youngsters to obtain a high. While the manufacturer says there is no evidence the medication can cause violence as a side effect, the drug does contain dextromethorphan, a drug that, when taken in high doses, can produce hallucinations and delusions. Matthew Phelps is an evangelist preacher who married Lauren in 2016. According to the New York Daily News, the autopsy report of Lauren Phelps revealed she had been stabbed 123 times, with wounds to her neck, torso, head, and arms. Phelps claimed he had often taken the cold medicine in the past and regularly at more than the recommended dosage to help him sleep. He is now awaiting trial for the murder, where prosecutors are seeking the death penalty against him. At the time of the article that I'm reading, he's awaiting trial. I mean, it's in this instance, you know, you don't know what kind of reactions your body's going to have to certain medications, so this article came out in regards to Matthew Phelps. This article came out June 14th of this year. This is from the Crime Spotlight, written by Fiona Guy. Please check out the article. This is on crimetraveler.org. I'll link the website in the description and the article as well. But yeah, this is very, you don't know what kind of reaction your body can have to certain medications, certain drugs. And also, as I stated before, the chemical makeup of your mind, if you're having trouble sleeping, if you're suffering from insomnia, there is damage that does occur to the brain. So that, coupled with side effects from certain medications, even cold medicine, can have some very drastic results. I don't know where this case is going to go, but just hearing that bit of information, you know, it does give you, you know, a moment to pause. If you're a juror and you're reading this, and then the company even came forward and says that the medication can cause hallucinations, and, you know, I am curious to see what the prosecution, how they present this, and what the defense's rebuttal is.
If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started.
So, so just to elaborate on that, during my research, I came across an article from, if you guys want to go check it out, from aasm.org. A study found that adult sleepwalking is a potentially serious condition that may induce violent behaviors and affect health-related quality of life. We found a higher frequency of daytime sleepiness, fatigue, insomnia, depressive and anxiety symptoms, and altered quality of life in patients with sleepwalking compared to the control group, said Yves Duvillers, MD, excuse me if I butchered that name, and PhD. The study's principal investigator and lead author, Dr. Duvillers, is professor of psychology and neurology and director of the sleep lab at Goudy Cholac Hospital in Montpellier, France. What would usually be considered a benign condition, adult sleepwalking, is potentially serious condition, and the consequences and dangers of sleepwalking episodes should not be ignored. Results show that 22.8% of sleepwalkers presented with nightly episodes and 43.5% presented with weekly episodes. Additionally, a positive history of violent sleep-related behaviors was found in 58%, including 17% who experienced at least one episode involving injuries to the sleepwalker or bed partner that required medical care. Reported injuries included bruises, nosebleeds, and fractures, and one participant had sustained multiple fractures and serious head trauma after jumping out of a third-floor window. Sleepwalking is a common parasomnia, affecting up to 4% of adults. It involves complex behaviors that occur during arousal from non-rapid eye movement, NREM sleep. During an episode of sleepwalking, the brain is partially awake, resulting in complex behaviors, and partially in NREM sleep with no conscious awareness of actions. According to the adults, this is the largest prospective cohort study on adult sleepwalkers seen in a clinic, using face-to-face clinical interviews, standardized questionnaires, and objective assessments by polysomnography to investigate the clinical characteristics, consequences, and comorbidities. The study, appearing in the March issue of the journal Sleep, involves a prospective case control study of 100 adult patients in whom primary sleepwalking was diagnosed from June 2007 to January 2011. Exclusion criteria included a positive clinical history of REM sleep behavior disorder, RBD, a similar parasomnia that involves violent dream-related behaviors emerging during REM sleep. The age of the sleepwalkers ranged from 18 to 58 years with a median range of 30. Results were compared with 100 healthy control subjects. Sleepwalking triggers that increased both the frequency and severity of episodes were reported in 59%, related mainly to stressful events, strong positive emotions, sleep deprivation, and less frequently to drug or alcohol intake or intense evening physical activity. All of these factors promote increased slow wave sleep and NREM sleep instability. Sleepwalking is an underdiagnosed condition that may be clearly associated with daytime consequences and mood disturbances, leading to a major impact on quality of life, said Duvillers. The burden of sleepwalking in adults needs to be highlighted and emphasized. The American Academy of Sleep Medicine considers sleep disorders an illness that has reached epidemic proportions. And now, what I find so fascinating, I don't mean that in a ooh yay, but like this is so it really isn't talked about much. how is this going on for so long and it's not considered, like there aren't more steps being taken to address this issue? So yeah, during my research, I found this so fascinating. And like I said, not fascinating and ooh yay, but like what the hell is going on? I really think, we really need to start focusing on mental health and the connection to lack of sleep, but how society has just molded into this machine that just continues on without stopping. Like we're human beings. People need sleep. I know some people can function on about 5 hours of sleep. Like I said, I suffer from chronic insomnia, so I have gotten to the point where I could realistically function on about 3 to 4 hours of sleep, maybe with a nap in between here and there. But yeah, there are people that are unfortunately forced to try and get as much sleep as they can and then jump up and go to work. And a lot of times you spend most of your time traveling to work. Like the bulk of your time being spent outside of your house is traveling back and forth to work, as well as being at work. I think that's why a lot of times when people are given the option to do remote work, it's become such a first choice. Why would I want to go into work, into the office, to be around people that probably don't care whether I live or die and will replace me the first chance they get? I could die tomorrow and they will have a replacement lined up in a week. I pay all this money for this home to only spend 3 hours in it. It's a scam. It's all a scam, and these what's happening is it's causing people to start suffering from these parasomnias. It's causing people to have mental breakdowns. You have people suffering immensely because they don't get enough sleep, because they aren't spending enough time working on themselves, enjoying the life they're trying to create for themselves. The fact that we have to ask to go on vacation, I have to ask permission to go on vacation, or have to ask permission to use the bathroom at certain jobs, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The fact that you have to ask permission to use the bathroom at school is quite ridiculous. But yeah, that's another rant for another time. But yeah, the mental health pandemic that we are actually going through, in conjunction with the other pandemic, really needs to come to the forefront, because I really believe that not having enough sleep, and I know some people will be like, it's not just sleep. Obviously, it's not just sleep, but sleep is a big factor. If we go back a few episodes, and a lot of things that I broke down, is your mental stability begins to deteriorate after a certain point when you don't get enough sleep, especially if you suffer from insomnia. There's actually a movie coming out, I think, on Netflix. I think it's called like No Sleep or something, where only one girl in the entire world can go to sleep and the rest of the world just can't sleep. No one is able to fall asleep and the world turns into utter chaos. Please believe I am doing a podcast on that. Please believe that is coming up. A full breakdown of that movie is coming up, because I have been saying it for several episodes. Y'all need to get some sleep. This is what happens to your brain. I don't know if you guys remember those commercials from the 90s where they used to, the drug commercials. This is your brain on drugs. This is your brain not on drugs. And it cracks the egg. Well, this is your brain on sleep. This is your brain not on sleep. Perfect analogy. We really need to start throwing the full force of the healthcare into, really focusing on mental health and really honing in on what's causing so many people to be affected by all of these parasomnias. It's crazy. And like I was saying, what I was finding so interesting, what I found so interesting was the amount of times that sleepwalking had been used as it had been used during court cases as a reason for murder. And, you know, from 1845 all the way to 2018, it's kind of scary. And those are the only ones those are the ones that I was able to find. You know, you know, there are people that might have had mental health breaks, or they might not have been mentally able to explain themselves about what happened, and they, you know, like suffered from sleepwalking and didn't know, and they were mentally incapable of saying, I think I did this in my sleep, or, you know, I had so many questions doing the research, you know. So a few of the questions I had was, if someone kills in their sleep, are they innocent, or was it something subconscious buried deep down? Like, what I was thinking when I wrote this was maybe like Minority Report. If you guys ever seen Minority Report, it's when, it's a Tom Cruise movie. It's in the distant future. They have capabilities of being able to, predict. There's these three telepathic children that can predict the future, and they can predict when someone's going to commit a crime, or if the person's just thinking about committing a crime. And, you know, that was my kind of connection. Like, what if this person is just so angry at this other person, and they've been stressed out, and they just haven't dealt with the anger, and so they're just thinking about it subconsciously, like, oh, this person is making me so mad, but you can't really deal with it. Or, you know, you're just having like marital issues and you're arguing, or you're having friend issues or issues at work or whatever, and you kind of just bottle all of that up, and it presents itself subconsciously as you know, especially if you suffer from a parasomnia, you act upon that in your dreams, if that makes any sense. So it was just so, just the whole complexity of this was just so interesting to me. And then I was like, is there any way to possibly find signs or signals of homicidal tendencies? You know, how do you test for this? How do you test for this? How can you figure out if this was just, you know, something that was premeditated, or if they're lying, or if they're telling the truth? Because how do you go from just doing yard work, cooking, cleaning, doing everyday tasks, which makes sense, you know, if you fall asleep and your body's on autopilot, and that's basically kind of what sleepwalking is. Because most people, they do everyday things. They do mundane things like cooking and mowing the lawn and maybe walking the dog or something and driving their car. How do you go from that to homicide? Where does that come from? Unless it was already at some point floating around in your head. It's a very touchy subject, because so many people have actually become victims to this, but it bears the question, like, where does this come from? Why is that, like, why? Going through all of the research, I just couldn't, I would have to go much deeper, I'm sure. Because even in the research, it says like alcohol and drugs are not really a factor for this. Most people, they either hurt themselves, they doing mundane things, or walking off of a ledge or something, because in their mind, during their sleep, they're dreaming about walking or doing something, you know, doing something mundane. How does that turn into murder? How does it turn into homicide? Let me know in the comments. Let me know. Hit me up in Twitter. Hit me up on Instagram. I would love to know your thoughts, your ideas on this. Send me a voice message, voice memo. I would love to know what you guys think, because it's such a strange leap. It really is. It's such a strange leap. Another question that I had was, will legislation be changed to incorporate sleepwalking killers? What would be the sentencing? Involuntary manslaughter? Like how would the sentencing go? Is that person innocent? Is it just, like, how would they, I assume they would have to show a history of dealing with this kind of parasomnia, like really going through the paces of going to a sleep clinic, being diagnosed, being observed constantly, taking the measures to really try to treat this. But then how do you know? How do you know that how do you, I don't even know how to phrase the question. All I can assume is, yes, you would probably have to go through quite extensive research and clinics, and you'd have to be studied quite extensively. Another question I had was, are these people that are placed in jail, do they get transferred to a special facility? Will they be monitored for the rest of their lives? How would they be monitored? If you are tried and convicted of murder, for sleepwalking, and you're placed in jail, are you monitored after? And if you are monitored while you're in jail and you still exhibit instances of sleepwalking, like, are they still monitored after? Or if they're found innocent, that's what I meant to say. If they're found innocent and all charges are dropped, are they sent to a special facility? Because at this point, if you've been found innocent of killing someone in your sleep, who's to say it wouldn't happen again? So are you just found innocent of not intentionally murdering that person? However, you still need to go to a specific clinic where you will be monitored and you will be housed for whatever the sentencing is. Because if you let them out into the world, wouldn't that be considered double jeopardy if they kill someone again in their sleep? You can't be tried for the same thing. So what happens then? So this whole situation is just so perplexing to me, and I don't know, maybe I'm not doing my research right this time around, but I just couldn't get any of the answers to my questions. Either from what I found, it's either you found guilty and you get sentenced to jail, and then there's no follow-up after that. It's just like you killed this person. Or you're found innocent and no one ever tracks you. That's it. So if they do kill someone in their sleep and they're found innocent and they never kill anyone again and they never exhibit any sleepwalking again, wouldn't that mean that maybe something's a little odd there? Because you don't just snap out of a parasomnia. Like, it's with you. Are they not monitored? What's going on? What is going on? I had another question. If a person is found not guilty after committing a crime in their sleep and they kill again, will the same rules apply? Can they fall back on their parasomnia history? Right, like I was saying, wouldn't that be considered double jeopardy? You can't be tried for the same crime. I may be mixing that rule up. You can't be tried for killing the same person. I believe that's what it is. But isn't it still, wouldn't it still kind of, there's like a gray area for it to still be considered double jeopardy? Let me know in the comments if I'm getting this wrong. That's the whole point of this, is to start a conversation, because we definitely need to start a conversation about this, because there's too many on the books. There's way too many instances of this happening. So there needs to be a conversation happening about this. There needs to be a heavy conversation. You know, if people are out in the world having issues, sleepwalking and homicidal thoughts, like, we need to start talking about this like heavily, because this is kind of scary. You know, what triggers such violent episodes of sleepwalking? Most people, like I said, this is another question. What triggers such violent episodes? Because most people do household chores. So what's the jump? What causes that switch from housework to homicide? I just, you know, from you know, homemaker to homicidal. Like, I really want to know what the connection is. It isn't drugs. It isn't alcohol, so it has to be something that's going on in the waking life, as we spoke about this in a different episode. So what's causing the jump? What's causing the jump?
We here at the Creative Insomniac, which is a Black and biracial owned brand and business, would also like to support other Black and multicultural businesses. With that being said, this portion of the episode is sponsored by Limitlistics. Limitlistics is the study of knowing no limits in your life. It is an everyday mantra. I see no limits, I speak no limits, and I know no limits. It's not just a brand, it's a lifestyle. Head over to limitlistics.com, where you can purchase merchandise such as shirts, tote bags, glassware, and mugs. They also do custom orders. If you have a vision, they can make it a reality. So again, head over to www.limitlistics.com. Again, the website is www.limitlistics.com.
Welcome to a segment I like to call #Flamin' the Zodiac, where we discuss the most hated attributes about a zodiac sign and why. Taking the lead on this is my beautiful and witchy woo-woo friend, Andrea, also known as Sage the Grey, and owner of the Little Blue Cauldron.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you. Oh my God, I feel so welcome here.
All right, so this is your segment. This is your time to shine. What sign are we doing today?
Tonight we are covering Libra.
Ooh.
Those damn scales. God damn it. Oh, this is going to be fun. Here we go.
All right, so let's get into it. What about the Libra?
Okay. So before I just talk all this trash about them, I'm going to talk about a couple of good things, just a couple, maybe a few. First things first about Libras, they are known to be emotionally intelligent and balanced individuals, and they operate out of law and order. They're always seeking harmony, and of the zodiac, they're actually considered the diplomats. So if you ever going into like a tense situation, They're the ones you want to call to try to like mitigate the damage and appease everybody and make sure nobody's cutting each other's heads off and shit like that.
So they're like the mediators or the lawyers of the zodiac.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay.
They are the complete opposite of the Aries sign. They are literally opposite the Aries sign on the wheel, if you take a look at it. So where Aries is a warrior, Libra is definitely the diplomat. Just a little fun fact here and there. And I guess I guess they smart and shit. They're technically the intellectuals also, on top of being the diplomat. I guess.
I wonder what the percentage of like actual attorneys and lawyers are Libras.
That's a good question. I've never thought to look that up, but I should though. Like the most famous lawyers, I should probably look up. Like, yeah, what's your sign?
Somebody look that up and put it in the comments.
That would be dope. That would be dope. And I actually did look up a couple of famous Libras that I'm pretty sure everybody else knows, if you're interested in knowing who they are.
That was actually one of my questions, too. I wanted to know one of my questions was, which celebs or influencers that you follow or are aware of fall under this sign? So,
okay, well.
lay it on us.
Okay, well, just a couple. Some of my favorites, Will Smith, for starters, Eminem, Oscar Wilde. That one explains a lot, in my opinion, because he's just very creative, very intellectual. Serena Williams, believe it or not, Cardi B.
Oh, wow.
Doja Cat, Confucius, and Donald Glover.
That makes quite a bit of sense.
Right? When you think about it, like, why you work like that? That's why. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. So, enough about the niceties, because I'm ready to talk trash about these fools. Yeah. Here we go. Motherfucking ghosting ass bastards.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
That's how you feel.
Listen, these motherfucking Libras, yo. Here's their problem. Because they're diplomats, because they want to keep peace, they will people please themselves to death, and they will take the long way out of answering any type of direct question because they want to be so damn diplomatic. It's like, okay, is the answer yes or no? These motherfuckers will create a third option and be like, well, technically, if we do it like this, then it doesn't have to be one or two. It could be three. It could be all of us. We could all be equal. Like, I didn't ask you that. I said answer one or two. If there's a gun in your head and I said answer one or two, you're going to die. Like, and because they're an air sign and because they're so intellectual, they are so in their heads about things. It's like, I asked you to stay here on a little planet I like to call Earth, to stay present. What's going on with you? Well, in the confines of the depths of my mind, this thought spins upon the windmills therein, and I cannot find any solace. And blah, 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 blah. But I ain't asked you all of that. I just asked you how you was.
Oh, my goodness.
That's all I said. Like, how are you? Well. No, well. Just, how are you? Wishy-washy ass motherfuckers. I'm tired of them. And they flaky, too. Oh, my God. It's like, these people, you text them, you got to wait 3 to 4 business days within business hours of 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. to get an answer back.
Yeah, but is that, see, but then when you get the answer back, if it's a long-winded answer, if they took a few days, but then they respond with more than just K, which I absolutely hate, and they respond with more than that, you can't get mad if their answer's long-winded, though.
Yes, the fuck I can. No, I can. Yeah, and I hear you. I hear you trying to be the Libra's advocate. I don't care. I don't care. Like, it takes all of 3 seconds. Listen.
I'm just saying.
Listen, it takes all of 5 seconds to be like, okay, this is what I'm going through. This is what I'm dealing with. I'll catch up with you later. Why do I have to put in a request to speak to you and then have a 5 to 7 business day turnaround time to get a response? What the hell kind of...
Be busy, though.
How much time does it take to send a simple text? It only takes 3.5 seconds. And not even that, because most of the responses now are auto-generated. Just pick a word. Just pick a word. Just one word. String them together. It's easy. It's so easy. I don't want to hear it. I don't. I really don't.
I don't know. I mean, for everything else, maybe yes, but for the getting back to people with text messages and stuff, and then having a problem with how they respond. I mean, if they didn't respond, you'd complain about that too.
Of course, because they are the grand poobahs of not responding. They'll look at the message and just act like it don't exist. If they want to ghost you, they will act like you don't need. They will act like they never met you. It is as if you do not exist. So, they are so good at doing that.
What's their most hated attribute? Is it that? Is it the texting, the responding, or is there something else?
Well, I think that if you ask different people, some will say that they're extremely flirtatious when they're in relationships with other people.
Oh, so
some will a lot of people, they got issues with that. Some people will say that it's because they're so verbose, they will talk your damn ears off, like talking the ears off a donkey. Some people will just, some people will be like, well, you can't get a straight answer out of them. They can't just answer it. It's like, damn, Calvin, just answer the damn question. I ain't asked you any of that.
So they're elusive.
Yeah, elusive, aloof, flirtatious. It's like, oh, God. Avoidant. Avoidant is like oh, man.
Okay, so...
That's definitely something I came in contact with recently.
So that also leads into one of my questions. Are they good friends? Like, are they good friends to have? Like, what's their friend rating? Like, if you had to rate them, like 10 being awesome friends, reliable, trustworthy, and 1 being like, you and I are going to come to blows any minute.
Okay. So I will back off of Libra just a little bit because they're not shit friends at all. I think that they're pretty balanced in terms of what they are willing to give. And what they're willing to tolerate. I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give Libra a solid 6.
Ooh, okay. That's not bad.
And that's being generous because Libras will be the type of people to tell you about the plans that they're making, how they want to do it, and then wait the week up to cancel or the day up to cancel and be like, oh, what the fuck? I thought we was doing it. No, well, and then it'll just disappear. So they don't want to talk about it.
So if you had to rank their sign, like if you ranked all the signs, right, from best sign to...
Oh, boy.
Like, yeah, from best sign, most tolerable to your sign should not exist on the zodiac line. And you need to be removed off this circle I'm staring at. Where would you place them?
Oh, man. It's kind of hard for me to say because I'm biased, but if I had to rate a Libra's usefulness in the zodiac, I give them like a 7, maybe an 8, but mostly a 7 because we do need diplomats. We do need people that are creative and intellectual and that know how to like calm everything else down and bring it into harmony because a lot of the other signs can't do that. Libras are really good at creating harmony when there is none.
Okay.
Peacekeepers, if you will. So we do need those, I guess. I mean, yeah, I give them a 7.
Okay. Are they... Well, I feel like you kind of answered this already. Are they marriage material?
She said, "Oh, they marriage material." Oh, you dear sweet child. Oh, man. Okay. I would say no, because a lot of times Libras are too into themselves intellectually, and they don't, because they're in their heads, they don't really express themselves the way they think that they're doing. Communication is an issue.
Okay.
You know, you're thinking it, but you're not saying it. If you're an evolved Libra, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you are an evolved Libra, you're self-aware, you are fixing your communication issues, you're bringing harmony to everybody around you, not just internally, then yeah, sure, by all means, someone will put up with you. You know, but if you're just ghosting people and you're running away from conflict and you're not trying to answer questions and shit, then hell no. How the fuck am I going to be married to you for like 5, 6, 7 years and I can't even get a straight answer for what you want for breakfast? That would be a pain in my fucking ass.
So you're saying no?
Nah.
Okay.
Nah.
Okay. So, let's see. Have you? Because you sound kind of passionate about this. Have you dated anyone under this zodiac? And if so, tell us your survival story.
Hi, my name is Drea. I survived the Libra twice.
We gotta make that into a whole other segment.
Right. I survived. I survived the Libra twice. I survived the zodiac. That's the next. That's the next segment. I survived.
Put that in the comments if y'all want me to do another segment about horror stories dating specific zodiacs. Like, I survived.
Oh my god.
This zodiac and why, and make them juicy too.
Yeah, please share your stories. I can't be alone in this.
Well, I've personally never dated a Libra, so I would love to hear your experience.
Oh, you dodged a bullet. All right, so check this out. When I was younger, I was maybe 19 years old, and my first love was a Libra, and everything was cool, or so I thought. So there were a couple of things that were working against me already. One was our age difference. That was like the biggest thing. Oh my God.
I gotta do that because what's the age difference? We want to know.
Okay, let me see.
Uh-huh.
So let me see. I was 19. He was 25.
What?
Hey, I'm gonna keep it a bug.
Damn.
It was a big age difference.
Damn, you waited mad long to fall in love.
Yeah, dude. So, he was my first love. He was my first everything, I want to say. Yeah, he was my first everything, so. Oh, God, shut that shit off. I can't.
I love my sound machine.
Yo, you know what? Sound catalog.
The people enjoy it.
The people deserve. Oh God.
For those that don't know, that is Drea. That is her personal sound bite that I created for her. She has a specific sound bite that I made just for her.
Oh my God.
All right, tell us your story.
Let me see if I could try to sum it up. So he was my first love, and because of the age difference, it wasn't really working for me. So I broke up with him. And he wanted to stay with me and whatever. Cry, tear. We ended up being friends afterwards. But the friendship thing wasn't working out because how do you go from being super in love to just being friends, right?
Yeah.
So he was trying to see other people. And after the other people would leave, there was me. So I'm like, this isn't really working out, but I don't have any experience dating, so I don't know any better. Mm-hmm. I don't know that when you break up with people, you don't sleep with them no more. So here's what happened. Yeah. So here's what happened. He met this girl. I think her name was, I don't know if I should even say her name. I don't even know where she is, but whatever. She met this girl, and the girl was smart because she saw me and she immediately was like, oh shit, that's the ex. And I know this because the day that we were hanging out, everything was cool in the game. We were playing Guitar Hero in his room, and he stepped out to go do something, and she told me some crazy fuck-ass story that she just made up. She said some shit like, oh, I'm 16 years old. I'm not actually 21 years old like I told him. I'm like, huh? She was like, yeah, I just lied about my age because I really want to be with him, but don't tell anybody. I'm like, huh?
What?
So me being young and naive, I believe her. And when I'm leaving, I tell him, I'm like, look, I don't know what she told you, but she told me this. And look, fix that. Whatever that is, fix that. And he was like, yo, good looking out, blah, blah, blah. This is why we're still friends, whatever. So if you have more sense than I did at that time, you know where this is going. Later on, the shit blows up. She flips it and says that I lied on her because turns out, yeah, she was of age, more than of age. She just looked younger. And he was like, prove it. She shows him her ID. She's over 21. Says to him, oh, your ex is trying to break us up. She's trying to lie and keep us apart. He believes her. And that's when we fell apart. And that's when he started to ghost me and X me out of everything. And I was completely devastated because I was like, all right, but you know me. And we've been seeing each other for almost 2 years, maybe 3 years. But you believe this person that you just met. So it really, really hurt me. It had me, crying, sliding down the wall and shit. Oh, why? He literally just dropped out of my life, completely ghosted me. And I'm like, if only I could understand. But it took me a while to get over that. And I'm like, never again.
So she did you a favor then? Because
he did.
I mean,
and she did.
Yeah, she did you a favor by doing that because essentially that led to y'all not having any more interactions and you breaking free. So
that's true.
You gotta, I guess, look at that. I mean, do you look at that as a blessing in disguise?
Actually, yeah, because he was immature as a young adult, and he had a lot of his own issues, a lot of unresolved shit with his mom and trying to get himself together as a man. And I'm like, yeah, I couldn't be in that situation anyway. It just would not have panned out well. And then me, I was maturing into a different person. So I'm like, I want to experience different things. And if I'm dating this person who's older than me, I'm not going to grow anymore. I'm going to be stunted. If anything, I'm going to grow away from him and be mad. So it worked out, But, oh, God.
So
trying to be with him though.
So,
yep.
Question: because you stayed on for so long, right? Because you stayed in his web for so long. How would you rate him in bed?
Oh God. Not the explosion.
You like that?
I was not expecting it. Hashtag Michael Bay.
See, don't. I'll remix it.
I can't. Oh man. Wow. Oh man, I don't even know if it would be okay. You know what?
Oh wait, Was it bad?
Because the thing is, I'm trying to think about it as when I'm 19. If you would have asked me then, I would have said he was great. Oh, he's amazing. I loved it.
Because he was the first?
Yeah, because he was the first. Your first is always quote unquote the best because you have nothing to compare it to. You have no other experience, so what are you going to compare it to? But looking back at it now, I would say that dude was maybe a 4. Yeah, Yeah, for real. Like, he was a 4 because he didn't do half the shit that, you know, a few of my other partners have done. And I'm like, I wonder if it's because he knows that I don't know any better, so he doesn't have to work as hard.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't try. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to do any of that. You know, hey, you know.
Hit him with the crickets.
Yeah, just crickets, baby. Just quiet. Ooh. And had the nerve to ask me questions like, did you finish? And I'm just like, yeah, I think, yeah.
Oh, no, she had to think about
I don't know. Again, I'm like a teenager, so I don't know. I don't know what a real orgasm feels like. I don't know what that feels like, you know? Like, shit, I guess I did.
Oh, my God. This is just painful. All the Libras out there cringing right now. Y'all better come in these comments and defend your honor, okay? Because right now it's dishonor. Dishonor on you. Dishonor on your entire zodiac. Dishonor.
Yeah, dishonor on you. Dishonor on your cow. Dishonor on your scales. Dishonor. Come save yourselves because y'all are going down in flames.
Oh, my goodness. Y'all better come in these comments and defend yourselves. And Lady Libras... If you've been with a male Libra, or vice versa, male Libras, or, you know, whatever you swang, y'all could, you know, compare notes.
Yup. Fix the Black Jesus.
Oh my God. So who are they best paired with on the Zodiac? Because now I gotta ask whoever else is on the Zodiac if they with a Libra right now. Like, is it true? Is it a 4? Is it a 4?
Well, word on the street is that Libras are best paired with Pisces and other Libras and maybe Geminis. But I don't, you know, that's not an exact science, and I'm not an expert at any of this. I just go off of like things that I've experienced and some things that I've seen and maybe a birth chart or two.
Okay.
But that seems to be.
What month? Because I'm not an expert either. So what month do Libras fall under? What month is that?
Okay. So Libras are the end of September to like mid-October.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So around, I want to say Libra season starts September 20th, and then it goes into like October, like October 20th or somewhere around there, like mid-October. It kind of cuts off, and then the next season starts.
Oh, okay.
You know, but like I said, I'm not an expert, so if somebody knows better in the comments, by all means, correct me. You know, I'm open to correction.
That's right.
You know, because there's some people that are just, you know, they live and they die by their zodiac birth chart and the moon cycles. And when the sun rises crooked, they feel it in their pores. So you go ahead, you know, and check that shit for me. That's fine. I don't care.
Yeah. As a disclaimer, like I've said this on previous episodes and things like that before. I have not had an expert on here yet. We can only speak from experience.
Yep.
And so these are accounts from personal experience and opinions only. Nothing here is expert advice.
That's right.
And on
so please.
Yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
Okay, so please take it with a grain of salt.
And on that note, that's a good segue for me to ask you something a little off the cuff, a little random. Do you want to do like a quick, just random pull a card and give the people, whoever hears this right now, this is your card, this is what it says? Because also I forgot to plug your socials, so I'm gonna let you do that now, so that if anybody is interested in getting a reading from the Little Blue Cauldron, I'm gonna let Andrea tell you where to find her and how to get in contact with her. So go ahead.
Oh, that's fucking dope. All right, cool. So as you heard, I'm known as Sage the Gray on Instagram, and I also have a page called The Little Blue Cauldron. So if you go to Oh my God. Oh my God. So if you go to at the Little Blue Cauldron on Instagram, you will find me there. If you go to at the Little Blue Cauldron on Facebook, you will also find me there. If you go to TikTok and you type in the Little Blue Cauldron, you will also find me there. I respond to DMs. I respond to messages. And of course, my email, same as the others, at the Little Blue Cauldron at gmail.com. So feel free to send me a message. I'm approachable, I think.
Oh, very, very,
like I don't bite.
Very
I don't think I bite. So,
oh my God. Yes, very approachable. Y'all better get a reading from her.
Yeah, all readings and stuff, it's all based on your current energy. So don't be shy. I'm only going to give you what Spirit has for you and whatever you need. And on that note, I am going to pull just one card for all the Libras out there. Ooh. Let's see. One card for the Sunny Libra, the ones that ghost, the ones that can't be direct.
The fours of the zodiac. Ooh, that's painful. Y'all better defend yourselves in these comments.
Please do. Like, don't let it go down in flames like that. But hey, if nobody says anything, then that's your business. Oh, that was rough. Let's see. Okay, so the card for the day is the Six of Pentacles. Ooh. And that represents generosity. It represents giving of your time and your resources, of your love, and all things tangible. So, if you are a Libra, maybe, just maybe, you are in a position to be giving of your time and your resources to people that you care about or people in your surrounding circle, which is not bad. Just make sure that you have boundaries, because givers will always give, takers will always take. Takers have no boundaries, givers need them. Let that simmer.
That's right. So, as you were saying before, with them Libras not giving a crap enough to answer on time, or giving it all they got in the bed, now is your time. That was your card. That was the cards telling you that you need to, set some boundaries, but, some of y'all need to start giving a little more, according to Drea. So,
yeah, if you're going to set a boundary, at least tell somebody, like, hey, this is a boundary. Don't just cut people and then expect them to understand. Like, no, we can't read your mind. Nobody can.
Okay. So we've got in your TikTok, we got your Instagram, we got your Facebook. Do you have Twitter?
Do I have Twitter? Nope. Actually, I don't.
Okay. But we got
I might make one in the future. We
got all your other socials, so everybody knows where to find you, where to contact you, to get a reading. Don't hesitate to send her a DM or an email, like she said. You do like virtual readings too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The majority of my readings are virtual. If you happen to be close by, sure, in person. But a lot of people are just comfortable with like a text response or a video chat, and it works out just fine. So don't feel like you have to be pressured to be in person with somebody, because no.
That's right. Okay. And on that note, I'm going to end this right here. This was great. Wait, no, actually, hold on. Let me think. What sign do you want to do? Because this is a segment now. So I'm dying to know what sign you're going to do next, because I'm waiting to hear my sign pop up. So we can let's see what shit she going to talk about my sign.
Right. Well, let me see. I think the next sign I'm going to talk about is Scorpio.
Ooh, Scorpio.
Yep.
I don't think I've ever had any interactions with a Scorpio, but just know, Scorpio, she's coming for you.
I fucking love it.
She's coming for y'all.
You're right.
Next episode, she's coming for y'all. And we gonna find out what that rating is. And if y'all in the comments, you hearing this, you know that Scorpios is on the next segment, is on the next episode. I want to know ahead of time so I can read some of these comments on here and live. And yeah, you can send them in the comments. You can send me a voice message through Anchor. You can send me a email at thecreativeinsomniacbrand@gmail.com. You can hit me up on Instagram at The Creative Insomniac Podcast. I'm on Twitter, The Creative Insomniac. I'm on YouTube, The Creative Insomniac Podcast. I'm on TikTok now. That app is going to make me lose all of my money with all these DIY projects. I'm not even joking, y'all.
Oh my god.
I'm not even joking, y'all. You know how they say TikTok made me buy it? TikTok made me broke. That's gonna be my
TikTok made me do it.
TikTok done put me in debt. All right. And on that note, say bye.
Bye.
The Little Blue Cauldron, a safe place where spiritual work and guidance is offered in order to help you on your life's journey. Worried about your financial situation? Wondering if you're going to get that raise you requested at work? Looking for love in all the wrong places? Well, what are you waiting for? Contact the Little Blue Cauldron. Check them out on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at The Little Blue Cauldron. You can also send her an email at thelittlebluecauldron@gmail.com. Again, that's thelittlebluecauldron@gmail.com. And begin your journey to spiritual enlightenment. But yeah, like sleepwalking, it can get very scary. You know, like we talked about the lighthearted version, the lightheartedness of it. For some, like Selena Spooky Poo, where, you know, it's just her videos of her doing fun things and, you know, maybe saying some weird stuff and laughing and barking like a dog or meowing, or, you know, just the lighthearted version of it. And then you have this whole other dark side where people are waking up and finding that they murdered their significant other in their sleep, and they have absolutely no recollection of it. And so you know, I'm at a loss for words. I'm at a complete loss of words. Even just doing all the research, I came out with more questions than I had answers. And I'm sure it's coming off that way just listening to it. Like it's just so much to unpack here. And I can't seem to wrap my brain around everything.
It's just, what do you do from a legal standpoint, from the legalities of this? What do you do? You know, some people were acquitted, as we've gone through certain cases. They were acquitted because their defense was able to prove that this person had a history of chronic sleepwalking, that they were taking medication for it, that they made every logistical attempt to combat this. And then on the other side of that, it's just random, where the person may not have had any kind of history of sleepwalking, and then they just, you know, that just happened. You know, it begs the question, on the instance where the person doesn't have any kind of history or anything to back it up, but they are legitimately innocent, how do you prove it? What is there some kind of study that's going on currently that can you know, because some people have other parasomnias that have absolutely nothing to do with sleepwalking, and could there be a correlation? You know, if you have any parasomnia, that you might develop a different parasomnia, and it kind of just spirals that way, because maybe these people had undiagnosed parasomnias other than sleepwalking. And because you can have more than just one more than just one parasomnia. So you could have sleepwalking, you could talk in your sleep, you could also have insomnia, you could have restless leg syndrome. So if they had maybe went to the doctor and just mentioned, I haven't been sleeping well, I've been having weird dreams, or I just want to know where this is going to go. I just think this is such a bigger conversation than just me talking about it. So please, in the comments, any experiences you have, or maybe you have a parasomnia, maybe you have you suffer from sleepwalking. Like I said, I suffer from insomnia, chronic insomnia. Right now, currently, I'm recording this and it's 1:32. I will be up to at least 6 or 7 a.m., to which I will fall asleep for about 2 or 3 hours, wake up, get another Jones of coffee, and be up for the rest of the day. And I kind of function like that. Maybe a nap here and there, about an hour nap or a power nap here or there. But it's very hard for me. And then eventually I crash like hard. And this kind of goes in cycles constantly for me. And I'm constantly trying to work through it. Hence the name, the creative insomnia. But the whole point is that this sleep is such a big factor for people. It's like we really aren't talking about this enough. I really think a lot of our problems are not, obviously not the crazy major problems, but a lot of the mental health problems are stemming from just not being able to sleep and shut down and relax. And it's becoming such an underlooked thing. I don't hear anyone really talking about the effects that lack of sleep has on the brain. I cannot stress this enough. I do not hear enough people talking about the mental ramifications of lack of sleep and the effects that it has chemically and physically on the brain and the body. Please, if anybody's out there listening, this is such a bigger conversation than just me and my little podcast. We really need to start really making this a constant topic. Mental health, a constant topic. Needing more sleep, constant topic. That whole 4-day work week, I am all for it. Why? Because you could take that extra day to just catch up on sleep. You could just have a whole day of sleeping. And then if you want to party for the other 2 days, by all means. That's your choice. Or if you just want to sleep for 3 days and then work the others, that's on you. But like I said before, we spend most of our time getting up, using our commute to get to work. So those are, for some people, 2 hours, an hour, 45 minutes. Those are hours of your day spent traveling to work, to be working for 8 hours. Some people have longer shifts. You know, some people work crazier hours, especially if you're like a frontline worker or first responder. Crazy hours. And don't even get me started on that. Crazy hours and what that is doing to the mental capacity of the people that are supposed to be rushing to our aid. Let's please. It needs to be a bigger conversation. This topic of not getting enough sleep, it's such a big tree with so many branches. So many branches. But I'm going to leave it there. That is the entirety of today's episode on sleepwalking. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you liked our little pop in from Sage the Grey. If you aren't following her, please check out her Instagram, check out her TikTok, her Facebook, all of the socials. Give her a shout out. If you enjoyed today's interview, and our hashtag flame that zodiac, if you enjoyed that, I am sorry if you are a Libra. I cannot help you in that department. I really want to know in the comments if what she said is true. If not, Libras, you need to come into these comments and defend yourselves. I personally am not a Libra. I have never experienced a Libra, so I don't know. But if that's you, you need to come and defend yourself, because you're not looking too good right now in the eyes of Miss Sage the Grey. So if you enjoyed that segment, it will be a recurring thing. So yeah, we coming for all the zodiacs. It's happening. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Again, we're on YouTube. We are on Twitter. I keep saying we, but you guys know it's just me and my demons here. I am on Twitter. I'm on YouTube. I am also on Facebook now. If you are on Facebook, if you just type in the Creative Insomniac podcast, I pop up. So, yes, I know. It's a beautiful thing. But yes, I am now on Facebook. So please send me a like. Don't forget to share, comment, talks in the comments amongst yourselves. Send me a voice message. Again, my email's thecreativeinsomniacbrand@gmail.com. I'm on Instagram as well. We are up and running on Patreon. If you do subscribe, you get access to some behind the scenes content on the studio and how I run things. Maybe a video clip of me recording. Some stuff could be there. I don't know. You gotta subscribe. But anyway, that is today's episode, and I appreciate every one of you. Don't forget to get some sleep if you can. If you can't, use the time to create, or I don't know, whatever you do, that's your choice. But I am going to leave it there. And I just want to say that I appreciate all of you and all of your positive feedback, and for everyone participating. And I am just, I'm gonna keep trucking. We still here, and we still going. And I have a bunch of, oh my God, the next episode is gonna be a doozy. I'm pretty sure that's gonna be the episode that everyone's not going to be able to stop talking about. And I'm going to leave it there. That's my hint. I'm going to leave it there. So anyway, I am your host, Selena LeBron, and this is The Creative Insomniac.